Welcome everyone to our Black Girl Gratitude event. I'm Andrea with Melanin Queen Creative.
And I am Tiana.
So we actually just started kind of doing events. Our first event was this past December. So this is, I think, our fourth one. So we're really excited. We're going to switching between doing in person and virtual. So our next event we're planning for next month. We'll talk more about that later on in the presentation. But we're really excited for this one. Definitely fitting for Women's History Month. So glad you're here. And speaking of Women's History Month, I feel like this mantra is just everything. You already know why I love it because it's purple. But this mantra, we actually do different mantras each month. You can download. If you go to the link, you just scan the QR code. And this one is really kind of, I feel like, kind of really sets the tone for the month. Not even for the month, but just for the year ahead. Looking ahead, you're always striving to kind of be that woman that you want to admire in yourself. So um, this mantra is free to download, like I said. So just scan the QR code, and we hope that it speaks to you just as much as it speaks to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're getting into it. And would you like to go ahead and give us a little introduction about us?
Yeah, so like I said, we're with Melanin Queen Creative, and Tiana and I are actually childhood best friends. We go way back. We grew up right here in, well, I'm in Prince George's County, still living here, but we grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland. And, it's very rare that you can be friends with someone so long. We're talking about over 30 years of friendship, which is usually unheard of. But as you get older, you find it harder to stay connected. We have different schedules, doing different things. But especially particularly during the pandemic, like it was definitely challenging kind of staying connected with friends and family. But we actually found a way to do that. We actually started doing some self-care activity cards that we would meet each week and do the activity and kind of have like that accountability to kind of talk about our experience with different cards that we used. And using those cards, we became inspired to kind of create our own that was really geared toward Black women. So we actually launched Melanin Queen Creative in 2021, and we're definitely dedicated to kind of putting together products that are kind of creative ways to kind of practice self care. And this is one of the products that we do have right now is our Unleash Your Melanin Magic card set box. So this box was actually became inspired, like I said, during the pandemic, and it features 52 self-care activities that you can pick each week to do with a friend or on your own. So this event is actually inspired by one of the cards, card number 29, which is on show gratitude. So a lot of these activities are centered around practicing mindfulness, celebrating sisterhood, celebrating yourself. So we definitely want to definitely bring women together, particularly Black women, women of color, to kind of make sure that they take self care seriously, especially as we kind of get caught in our busy schedules. It's important to kind of take a step back and focus on you. So, all right, and I'll hand it over
Thank
to
you for
you.
that introduction. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself as well. So I will just kind of tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Tianna Christine, as you see, and I am a wellness advocate as well as a serial entrepreneur. I have been doing many, many different things within the wellness space, within other opportunities. I coach all the different things. If you see it here, I love yoga. That is my jam. And I host workshops, retreats all over the place. I'm getting ready to host a retreat in Tulum, Mexico, and I'm so excited about that. And then, of course, with Melanin Queen Creative, I'm also the co-owner, and this has just been an amazing ride that we've had to be able to bring friendship as well as business together. And we're definitely a yin and yang. I love it because some of the times where I get scatterbrained, she's definitely the one to kind of bring us back.
We definitely balance each other out for sure. It's all about balance. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I will say that, and I will pass it over to Andrea so that she can go ahead and introduce herself. So go ahead, Andrea.
Hey everyone, so I'm Andrea and I'm a marketing communications professional. I've been practicing communications definitely well over a decade. I spent a lot of my career working in nonprofit, particularly in housing and homelessness, and just recently kind of switched over into the private sector. So now I'm doing IT communications. But outside of my professional career, I definitely have been focused being a self care advocate, and Melanin Queen Creative has definitely helped drive that. And my focus is kind of helping other women to kind of do the same. So,
Absolutely. Thank you. I see it here. Hold on. It did a little something there with the words. There we go. All right. Thank you so much, Andrea. Do you want to go ahead and tell us kind of what we're going to be working on for today?
yes. So now let's get into what's going to take place this evening. So we're going to start out with some intention setting. So Tiana's going to lead that, and then kind of go into talking about gratitude, like defining gratitude and what it means to us. And then the fun part is writing our letter to a woman that we admire and someone who inspires us. And then hopefully, we share and share what we wrote.
Yay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. All right. We're going to go ahead and get into some intention setting. And I want to bring up this intention setting because, it's really something that means a lot to me. It's something that I do pretty much every single day, where I pick an intention word and I share it. And this is something that if you look at my stories, you'll see it. And I want us to be able to just set the tone and set some intention. So I'm going to give you a second, and I'll also tell you what today's intention word is. So today's intention word is trust. Every single day I pick one and I share it live in my Instagram stories and Facebook story. And so wherever you are, just take a second. We're just going to set some intention of gratitude. So just give yourself a moment to be here. Allow your feet to be relaxed. Allow your hands to be relaxed. Give yourself a moment, maybe even close your eyes, take your gaze down, whatever feels good for you. We're going to come to that intention of gratitude, where we're allowing ourselves to just be in the moment, to be able to feel kind of what we feel and own those feelings. When we think about gratitude, we think about just its simplicity of giving thanks, to be able to tell someone how much they mean to you. It's those little things that can go a long way. So just for a second, just invite you to just get in that space of being present, being aware of even those little things every single day that just mean a lot. Maybe it's something that seems minute, but I just want you to think about that. So even thinking about something today that went well for you, something that you appreciate. And if you can't think of anything, just being grateful that you're even awake and here today. We all can be grateful for that. So as we begin to just gently bring ourselves back to the present, just taking a nice deep inhale in and nice exhale out. And if you had your eyes closed, I invite you to go ahead and gently blink your eyes open and just gently coming back to the present. All right. So as we get into it, I want us to just kind of talk about What is gratitude, right? When we talk about gratitude, we just had a intention setting about gratitude, but let's talk about what it is, right? So it's the quality of being grateful, right? So your readiness to show appreciation, to show appreciation for, and to return kindness, right? So, of course, like one of the things we're going to do today, letter writing. That's an intentional way to show gratitude. And it's one of those simple forms of communication that is kind of lost on some because we have this instant communication of sending a text message, having a video call, having a regular phone call, where letter writing has just become a lost art. It may be a long form text, but maybe not as something as simple as a letter and even receiving something in the mail from somebody, right? It's almost archaic to get a letter in the mail from someone that you talk to on a regular basis. But it's those little things that they may not keep your birthday cards, for example, but they'll keep a letter that you wrote to them. And so that's when you're getting very, very intentional about uh, being grateful and writing letters. And like Andrea mentioned before, one of the inspirations behind us even having this event for Women's History Month was the gratitude, right? So we talked about this, and I'm actually going to make sure that we have Andrea on camera. We talked about this as well when we brought this one up and we started creating card number 29, which is show gratitude, which you see it here. It's inside of our box, and it's like really one of those things where it's like, okay, let's honor others, and it's a way of self-care because we're giving someone their flowers. We're showing that gratitude. We're taking that time to say, you know what? I see you. I appreciate you. And I want to make sure that you know that you're valued. It's so many times that we're like, hey, girl, I love hanging out with you, all the things, but to put it in a letter, it means a lot. Like, when's the last time you got a letter, Andrea?
Oh man, I can't even remember, but I am a staunch believer like words are so powerful. And, a lot of our activities, I would say, is about kind of like letter writing and, outside of this activity, just leaving a random note somewhere, like to uplift. You don't know who will get it. You don't never know like what someone reads, how much that can change someone's day. So that's kind of like definitely one of the activities. But just keeping that in mind, like you said, it's a lost art form and it's a lost one. But I think bringing it back, it just means a lot. And you don't know what difference you can make, what difference, words can have. So I'm definitely, when I think about gratitude, I definitely think about just coming back to kind of who we are, our essence, and something that grounds us, even if you're not showing gratitude to someone else, but just thinking about, little things that you are grateful for that someone else may not have. So, um, but for Women's History Month, we're going to give our ladies, like you said, you got to give people their flowers. And it's reciprocal. When you give thanks and you give someone their flowers, you feel good about it inside. So,
Absolutely. All right. That brings us into why we should write a letter. I felt like we already kind of covered some of that. But we get to celebrate, we get to reflect, we get to give gratitude. And that's definitely one of those biggest things that we have. And we have a quote, and I want Andrea to touch on that quote that we have.
yeah, just a little quote that we found that I really feel like really sets the tone for this event and this activity. The real gift of gratitude is that the more grateful you are, the more present you become. I think that we kind of, like I said, we get caught in our schedules and day to day stuff, but just taking that moment to kind of step back and reflect and really, like I said, ground yourself and center yourself. And gratitude is definitely kind of important for that.
Absolutely. And to just, I think this is a good segment to just pause. I know we didn't do introductions and hellos and shout outs for everyone in the beginning. I know we got a lot of people who just joined in. And I think this is a good time to just pause and say hello to everyone.
Yes, put your city and name in the chat.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, we already had the shout outs. So we got Christine, who's from Lawnside, New Jersey. Hey, girl, hey. We also have Lataska. I know she's from the Dallas Fort Worth area. So hello. Happy birthday shout outs to you. I know you have a birthday, I think, tomorrow. So, fellow March birthdays.
Yes.
And feel free to put your name, where you're from, in the chat so we can shout you out. This is going to be interactive, so please make sure that you are available. You have we said this in the beginning, but you have your journal, you have your pen, everything that you need handy. Sometimes it's nice to actually write it out. You can
Yeah.
also type it on your phone because I'm a tech gadget as well, so I love digital. But sometimes writing is nice, especially if you want to send it out later. All right. So we have Kasani. Let me know if I said it right. Yes. Okay. From Cleveland. Hello. Hello. Welcome and thank you for joining. It's so nice to have so many women here, and we will be sending out something later. But I love to know how you connected with us, how you found us, because we have to keep this community going, right? This is kind of what we have is we're building community from all over the place. So it's really nice to see where people are joining from, right? Seeing where our people are.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to get to the next part?
Yes. Reflection. So before you kind of we talk about writing our letter, just taking a moment, to kind of shape what you want to say in your letter. So just taking a moment to reflect, what are some things that you want your letter to focus on? What are some letters that you want what are some things you want your letter to convey? And so we put together just a couple of reflection questions to kind of help guide you as you write your letter. So what qualities do you admire about this woman? What has this woman taught you? You know, I think it's like, oh, yeah. Thank you. So, what qualities do you admire about this woman? What has this woman taught you? What makes this woman special? Is there a quote that this woman said that resonates with you? How did this woman shape who you are? And how did this woman help you get to where you are today? So, those are just some questions to think about as we go into our letter writing activity. And we just want to give you a couple of minutes to kind of think about that, maybe jot a few things down before we get to the real fun part.
Yes. So definitely take a second. We have a playlist, so we're going to start with the playlist. We had it paused, so we'll get back into it as we give you a couple seconds to just reflect on some of these questions here, and then we will get into the next portion. We're going to go ahead and get back in to our session. So,
We hope those questions were helpful. And
yes. Are we ready to start writing our letter? So, again, this letter is something that's going to be able to help us. Those questions was able to help us to get into our letter writing process. And again, we're going to come with the playlist. So if you are enjoying this playlist, we do have this playlist available. So the playlist is actually on our website. So you can scan that QR code that gives you our link tree to all the things. If you're not following us, go ahead and give us a follow. Tag us as well. If you're taking any pictures from your writing experience or any of the things, feel free to tag us and let us know. We share everything that we get. And let's get into the letter writing process. So
yes,
we're both going to start. I have my pad. I'm going to start
I have
writing.
a journal. Yep.
So we got the timer on now. This is where you can ask any questions that you like, anything that you have. We can go ahead and get into that. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So it's definitely something where you can jump on, ask questions. Let us know if we have any people from the DMV that's in this chat, on the call, because we're here. We're in the DMV. So if you are in the DMV, please let us know because we love connecting. We have a couple of events that are in person, and we have
Yeah.
one that we want to talk about later on. So if you're in the DMV, definitely let us know. All right. So are we ready to get back to our playlist and start our letter?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my letter. So, once again, I'm Andrea with Melanin Queen Creative, and the person I chose was Nina Simone. I feel like Nina is such an icon, so stylish, so regal. So, I'll go ahead and read my letter. So, letter to Nina Simone. I remember the first time hearing your voice when I was 7 years old. I was watching the movie Point of No Return starring Bridget Fonda, and your song, Feeling Good, played through the TV speakers. I fell in love with how commanding and captivating your voice was. As I learned more about you, I became enamored with how much you seemed to embrace your blackness. You weren't afraid to stand up against racism and injustices. Your quote, freedom is to me no fear, still lives with me today. Thank you, Queen, for being such a guiding light on what it means to walk and embrace your blackness. Thank you for gracing the world with your catalog of music that has been so healing and moving. You will always be a true icon in my eyes. Sincerely, Andrea.
I love it.
So I feel like, there's some people that come around like there never can be duplicated. Like there'll never be another Nina Simone. And so just kind of, you know, definitely like those people you kind of don't take for granted, like you give them their flowers while they're here. And a lot of times it takes when someone passes away for people to kind of like, oh, wow, that person was really dope. And that's when they finally get their flowers. But Nina's personally had just been so like, when I need like a pick me upper, there's songs from her that I just find so soothing. When there's moments that I'm kind of feeling down, like I just feel like her voice is so healing, just gets me through any type of situation. So to me, like music is a part of my self care, a big part of my self care. And so a lot of like, jazz artists really kind of help me get through different situations and just get through life. So definitely Nina is one of my top artists.
I would like to read my letter and get into kind of the person that I chose, and so I will just kind of give you a background of the person. So my letter is to Deidre Ramos, and this is a woman who I knew and a personal person that I knew. She's a trailblazer. She's a veteran, just a stylish, a mom, a grandmom. So I wanted to give her her flowers. And so I will go ahead and read what I wrote. So I said, Deidre, I want to thank you for being such a positive influence and being such a guiding light in my life. You were the first woman that I knew who made good money and was always in a good mood. You were very humble and accommodating to everything. My time working with you was such a learning experience. I was her manager at a clothing store back when I was in college. And I said, I looked up to you like a second mother. Having met you at 20, I thought you were the coolest grown woman I ever met. You gave such great advice about being in the real world, tips on fashion. Even though we worked at a clothing store, she was always great with fashion. Tips on wine, even my first drink, I asked her about. What should I have as my first drink? And even how to deal with grief. So you were always willing to talk and have fun and never made us feel like we were too young to be a part of the group. So you were the first woman I knew to make 100,000, and I never even thought that was possible. This was back in the early 2000s, and I just didn't feel like a black woman making 100,000 was even attainable. And you made that seem easy and great. Deidre was a comptroller for the Navy. And so I said, there's not a week that goes by that I don't think about you. And in 2020, she was diagnosed before this, but in 2020, Deidre passed away from breast cancer. So June of 2020, and they had her ashes scattered at sea. And she was just a wonderful woman. This is a picture that we took of her back, way back, like 2005 or something, from one of her going away parties when she was deployed overseas. And it's, one of my best ones, even from one of my birthdays when she was diagnosed and she was going through chemo, was on the Race for the Cure the same day as my birthday. And I was like, I would never want to spend it with anyone else. So that was my birthday plan, spending it with her at Race for the Cure and spending the day. It was just amazing. So want to give her her flowers. Definitely still think about her and our time. And I got through that without getting emotional. So that's the person I wanted to honor today. All right. So now that we have all the things, right? We wrote our letter, right? Now it's done. So Andrea, tell us what we need to do next.
Yes. So we hope you all had time to write your letter. If you didn't, don't worry. But just some things to just think about. What do I do now that I finished or when I do finish my letter? So we kind of have some ideas to think about, to consider. So, one being, if you want to mail your letter, that is an option. So, putting in the mail, like we talked about before, like when someone sees written words, just how meaningful that is. Like we mentioned before, it's such a lost art form, and words have so much power. So, if the person is still with us, consider putting in the mail. Outside of the mail, maybe frame it. Like we talked about, our activity we did for our Mother's Day was giving someone a certificate of appreciation. And those are just such like just meaningful keepsakes to give to someone. So putting your letter in the frame, and if you want to give it to that person, I know that that's something that they'll cherish forever. Then social media, there's always opportunity to kind of share how you feel about someone, express your gratitude, whether, an Instagram post or Facebook, but, letting your network know, who has influenced you and why, and that can probably inspire someone else to do the same. So those are just a few ways, but just curious as far as like, for me, having it in my journal, my letter that I did, I'm going to use that as a way to always kind of reflect on it. So, just keeping it to yourself, there's nothing wrong with that as well, whether it's on your phone or in your journal, but just always kind of bringing yourself back to, okay, why this person meant so much to me is definitely, a good thing to have a moment of reflection on that.
Absolutely. And even if you uh, didn't get a chance to finish your letter, it's always something that you can come back to. This is a activity that you can do as a group. It doesn't have to be something that you can do solo. That's kind of one of the great things about even our activity cards, where this is just one of the activities that we have within our cards, right? There are 52 of them that are in our card deck. And it makes it where, especially when you're sharing it like this as a group and you're doing these as a group, it makes the activity so much more meaningful, and it actually gives you like some accountability to actually go through it and set aside some of that time. These are self care activities, and these are mindfulness activities, and it's definitely one of the great things. And we actually had someone who attended one of our in person events, and they ended up doing this as a group.
Hmm.
And I thought it was just so cool that they got together and they did one of the activities. So they well, all of them attended our what was that
Like
one?
on
Was that
Self Care Day.
Black Girl Self Care Day? That was
Hmm.
in January,
December. December.
December.
Yep.
And they was like, okay, you could, like, I'm looking at the thing. It had to have been December, right? Because they got Christmas stuff on. So the testimonial said we got together yesterday and kicked off with the wildest dreams bucket list card. I'm talking about our dreams. In talking about our dreams, we realized that one, many of us had never taken time to dream the impossible, and two, we have some commonalities in our dreams. Definitely looking forward to the remaining cards and learning the things that will come from them. Hope you both have a happy new year. And this one was from Shayna.
You
I
know.
thought that was so cool that, like, they took the time to, one, give us a shout out. They put it on social media, and just thought that was just so awesome. That's just one of the ways that you can use the cards, but uh, these are definitely, some of the other ways. How we got started with this was we used to meet every Sunday during the pandemic. This was a gift that we did, like, during the pandemic, that got us through. We would meet every Sunday and we would talk about our cards. So we would pick a card and we would do the activity. We wasn't going through the same card, but we would pick a card and do our activity, and then we talked about it at the end of the week. And these are all meant for you to do in a week's time frame.
Yeah.
So setting
Yeah.
aside some time. Yeah. What am I missing, Andrea? You got to keep me honest.
No, yeah, I think you nailed it perfectly. But like you said, like you can do them on your own, but just having that partner or that group to kind of keep you motivated and have that accountability going is so important. But these are some things that you can also do solo if you choose to. But in that group setting, like you said, you get so much inspiration, you get so many different perspectives when you have that group going.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I feel inclined to definitely play your Feeling Good song. And I want to keep the momentum going, but I have to play this Nina Simone song. And this is on our playlist. So
Yeah.
if you at all are enjoying the playlist, all of these songs that we have mentioned here is on our playlist. It's on our link tree. If you're not following us, feel free to definitely give us a follow. And with that, if you're interested in any of the cards, if you'd like to order the cards, we have an exclusive just for this event. We're doing
Yeah.
10% off using women's code. Women's Month is the code. So if you'd like to pick up a box, feel free to do that. And, you can do this as a group for your people.
Yeah. And hopefully, like we said, our events that are coming up are going to be based on these activities. So you can just follow along with us each month. That we'll be picking a different card, and you'll have these cards right with you, so you can always be on top of it. And we just hope that you will join us again.
Definitely. And we'll open up the floor. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, feel free to come off mute and ask any questions that you have from the event. Any feedback that you have, you are going to be getting a survey because we love to get feedback on how our events are going. This is now number 4 for us. So we love to get feedback on our events. We plan on having these monthly. So some of them will be local to the DMV area. Some of them will be virtual like this, where we can talk about a card and have an activity from all over. And speaking of activities, we have one that is coming up. So Andrea, please let us know about the
Yes.
next event.
So, like Tiana said, we have one coming up actually next month. So, if you are in the DMV area, we'd love to see you in person. So, if you don't already know, April is National Poetry Month. And so, for that month, we thought that our card 45, Follow a Trail of Words, would be best suited for that. So this activity is all about, using like random books or magazines or something to kind of pick out words that you can reflect on. So for this event, we'll be meeting at Barnes and Noble, and we'll actually be kind of picking out some poetry books. And the idea is to kind of close your eyes and kind of like let your finger guide on a word. And if that word resonates with you, reflect on it. So this was definitely one of the activities that, we were inspired before to do. And I think that definitely during National Poetry Month, we're going to have fun with this.
Yes. And if you're not in the DMV area and you're not in the Maryland area, we will be talking about this and doing a wrap up on our Instagram. So feel free to leave us comments and stuff like that about it. Because when we feature a card, we share it on our Instagram, and we also have a lot of information about it. And we typically will do a live and kind of recap the event and talk about the card as well. So feel free, even though you're not in the area. I know we got Montreal, we got Cleveland, we got
Yeah.
Dallas. Even if you're not in the Maryland area, you can still be able to participate in some of these events in the cards, the monthly cards that we have. Even if you are going to purchase, you want more information, definitely scan the QR code, give us a follow on our social media. You'll find that all in this one code. So if you are not following us, please give us a follow. We have lots of content that we give out, as well as, and this is the same link. If you have not gotten it, you can go ahead and get our mantra. So our mantra, we have a new one that is every single month, and that's also using that same code. So that's what the mantra is this particular month. But you can order that direct. You can download it. It's a free download, and you can get that from this month as well. So every month we change out the mantra, and once it goes away, it's done, it's gone. We may have some throwbacks one of these times, but we've already been doing this for over a year. So we already have a year under our belt of different mantras, and we come up with one every single month. It might be cool to actually vote for one. I don't know. We'll have to think about that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, vote for a different mantra. All right.
But yeah, a lot of our mantras are based kind of like, what is the theme of the month? Definitely with March being, Women's History Month. And, in February we did one based on, just self love. So these are always fun to do and kind of speak to what's the theme of the month.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we vote on like who wants to bring back one of our mantras, because we've never featured the same one twice. And if we want to be able to like bring back some of the ones that were the favorites, you can go into our social media and you can see all the ones in our highlight from all of the past months. So you can see all of those, and maybe we could do a vote for which one we want to like bring back. Because once it's gone for the month, it's gone. But it would
Yeah.
be nice to maybe see if people would like to have one come back and have that featured in their phone. You again want to continue to connect with us, you can scan that QR code. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. And, we thank you so much. We
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining us. We thank you for being a part of it, of this. And we just really, really appreciate you. So I want to turn the bed down because I see we have another comment as well. So feel free, Andrea, if you want to read the comment. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. I see Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. This was a beautiful moment, ladies. I hope to be able to attend on time next time around. Don't worry, we ain't judging your CP time. I like the idea of writing a letter of gratitude to someone. I plan to write a letter to my mom. I'm sure that I have not thanked her enough for all the ways that she inspired, uplifted, and carried me over the years. Thank you for reminding me to share this gratitude with her. Oh, you're welcome, Kimberly. Thank you. We're glad that we were able to kind of create that space for that. Um, so we definitely hope that it meant a lot to you as much as it meant to us. And just having this moment, like I think that a lot of times for our events, that intimacy and just kind of being able to kind of have a safe space for all of us to be vulnerable is so important. So I hope that definitely this event was helpful to you all.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, thank you again for you all joining us. And we hope that this event meant a lot, especially during Women's History Month. Just as this month comes to close, not only celebrate other women, but be sure to celebrate yourself as well. Um, and just use that time to, the importance of reflecting, the importance of, showing gratitude, but just being graceful with yourself. So we hope to see you again, um, and just have that moment of sisterhood. Like I said, we want to keep doing these events to kind of have that safe space. So definitely thank you again. And once again, happy Women's History Month.